And there it is, AKAPAD's Death Dealer. One of the great images of all time. One of the great characters. When all the money flowed into American comics in the 90s. And there it is. So many of you forgot about this comic. And excuse my lighting. And I'm also wearing shades, so I don't know how well you guys can see this. Death Dealer from Verotik. Verotik. I always say Verotik, but it's Verotik. Danzing. Mother! I saw him live, too. Really awesome performer. Liam Sharp. I promise you guys we will do more and more of Liam Sharp as this year unfolds. This was a random pickup of mine. I want to talk about the story of Death Dealer. This is one of 4 prestige format books. I don't know if they were monthly, if they were like quarterly or bi-monthly, but we have some artwork here, guys. Now, we're growing the contention, the thesis, the idea on this channel that digital coloring might be the worst thing that ever happened to black and white, good old American line work. Good old brutality with your line work. I'm talking about little hairs, big veins, lots of blood, detail, buckles, leather, straps, all of these things. And it's all potentially ruined by the colorists here. I'm not calling out the colorists at all. These were the standards and practices of the time. They also quadrupled comic book budgets and made publishing, just out of reach for a lot of individuals. The need for coloring sank a lot of companies. But with all of that said, guys, no story, no context. I just want to hit the drawing table with you and just drool at some Liam Sharp perfection. Let's go. And we have one of the great unknown characters at one time. Death Dealer was as mythical, and keep in mind, he only appeared in a couple of paintings by Frank Franzetti. But he was as mythical as Wolverine, Snake Eyes, and Boba Fett at one time. Everything I just named has been wonderfully demystified because we have to explain every little detail along the way. We have Verotik. I keep saying Verotik. The New Covenant. This retailed for $7 based on the character created by Frank Franzetti. Story, Glenn Danzig, and we know his name, we know his music. Art, Liam Sharp. So, before I flip the page, let me show you what this is based on, though. I want to just remind you guys. See, so we get into books like Icon here. And just, hey, we quickly open it up. And here's Death Dealer. This was a character that truly defined a time. It's fun to look at Franzetti's paintings. So many of these were commissions. There were commissions for books. So he had descriptions and titles. But he would just sit down and, again, like create images that stuck around. A lot of his contemporaries, here's the wild thing. In my view, a lot of Franzetti contemporaries, they were able to run together. They did equal work. Franzetti, though, had a little bit of that extra juice. And look, here, you can own a masterpiece. And here's the original, like, Death Dealer painting. I believe there was 4 of them. I'm going off the cuff here. This might have been number 1. It could have been number 2. But there's another one where he's, like, bringing down this axe. But it's very hard to discern and to describe why Frank carried on. It really is. Is it the colors, the proportions, his overall approach. This is the mystical element of how a lot of work just never dies. There's a lot of Franzetti out there for cheap. I think these ones went up in value. They're available. This was a part of a 2-book series called Icon and Legacy. They were both hardback and paperback. Unfortunately, I could not. I was priced out of the hardback version of this one. But these are fantastic books. There's other options available. But let's get. This isn't about Frank Franzetti, but we have to kind of set the stage to who Franzetti was, why his paintings mattered, and the inspiration that really came out of him. And we have Liam Sharp here, who is he's like appending Frank Franzetti during this time. We open with 3 long landscape panels. You guys know this is one of my preferred openings for comic books. I just believe the way it draws in the viewers and kind of sets the stage. But what we get immediately is a little bit of that computer coloring I was talking about. Look at the airbrushing here. And see, like, we're not letting the line work do its job. We're over rendering, and we're not making it look painterly. We're making this look like it's airbrush. We're doing color holds for the steam coming from the horse's nostrils. AKA padders, you know, one of the barriers to entry to become a great illustrator is to be able to draw children and animals, and we have a well-drawn horse here. I want to just note the inside front cover. This is what the line work is supposed to be, and the colorist does nothing but disrupt that. So, colors by who is it? Brian Tallman. But we get some great imagery. Isn't this fantastic? I love the highlights here. It's the purple going into the yellow. Nice addition. Now, I think I'm looking at some of this through my camera, and I want to say it looks a lot better on camera than it does in person. I think there's a little bit of a smoothing happening. But we get some like nice detail, like this hand. And I can tell by flipping through this that this is a quick read. But I love build up pages like this. That kind of like, 3 panels, you stack them, you build up into something. I love hand drawn and themed borders. We saw a lot of that back in the day here. We have the Death Dealer just like lopping off some dude's head. This is what we want to see. And say hello to the wonderfully drawn horse. Another well drawn horse. But look, I love the attitude of this shot here. But again, like, say he's journeying, he's traveling. So we get a lot of these built up shots. We even get things indicative of, one of the famous paintings. But this is what I mean about the airbrushing. Just, it destroys what he did on that horse. And some of this here, like, what are these, like, triple, like, strokes? Now, I might be getting overly critical because, we're sitting down to do this in the voice like of Liam Sharp, and Liam comes in and you get paid to do the work and you get the work done on time. Like that's the arrangement. But and trust me, guys, from someone who's got work printed and got things and conversations with publishers, and I was yes to death. When you have conversations and they assure you that your work is going to get reproduced a certain way or finished a certain way, and it comes back anything different than what the publisher says, there's a level of resentment there, because you can make adjustments also if you really know how it was going to turn out, and that's a little bit of publishing. It's just a little bit of the business. But look at the lopped off head, the highlighted blood there. I love highlights and blood. So for here, right, like we have this green glow, and again, we're trying to do something painterly, but the horse in motion, though, I love the horse's hair. Really nice stuff. Look, we get this, none may pass and live. Sorry. Let me get the Death Dealer here in complete motion. Nice pink highlights. The color selection's there. It's just really the execution. And some of that is here, like with the tricep. The highlight, again, creates a little bit of a blob effect. But yeah, so we have the decapitated one. And he's got to decapitate the decapitate one. Look at that leg. Guys, this is Liam Sharp here. Wonderful. I mean, it's amazing that I know he's done movie work, but it's amazing that he doesn't have more of the reputation of, like, his stuff needs to be on screen. It needs to move. It needs to kind of have a texture, and it needs to glisten a tad. The red here works very well. But see, Liam added, you see the color holds for the smoke and some of the wispiness, like the movement behind. And like really, like right here. All right, AKAPAD. And this is where you want to say, like, is he intending to block in the eye a certain way? And we see some really bad airbrushing here. Like, right, like, it just, but then the highlights here for the blood work. Some of it is, like, over-rendered. Like, here, over-rendered. And I'm calling it over-rendered because, see, like, we tried very hard to separate the light. So, you know, like, you do the darkest in the middle, and then you go from, like, darkest in the middle to lightest on the left and a little bit more light to the right. But when it's that dark, and when it gets reduced to this size, you know, like, the only thing to explain how this happens, just from a production standpoint, is that the colorist, it looked a lot better on screen than it does in print. And we see, like, we're trying to add highlights and texture, you know, and a little bit of nuance here. And we maybe have a colorist that doesn't know the production process, but that's also, you know, like our publisher here is, you know, like, and Glenn Danzig is listed as publisher. The publisher needs to do that. And again here too, see, we have Liam's line work here. And it's just, it's meaningless with these color holds. And again too, there's the money shot. This is, I mean, if this is, you would buy this if you saw this, and like, you might flip it over and be like, $7, and you're kind of in the comic shop, and like, you know, like, you flip to this, like, you would buy this. Like, this is a sale. It's a sale because you want context behind this imagery. And we can see, I mean, I love, like, what is this texture? It's like a chainmail. Looks really nice. And again, it's just more blood. I mean, guys, look how gory this is. Really cool stuff. Again, too, like, great color choices, though. Like, this purple highlight underneath, you know, the snake's jaw just works. But then we're like, yeah, we get back into over-rendered. And again, too, we just want to see Death Dealer, like, fight individuals. You know, decapitate more people. I mean, here, too, if you're, like, you don't over-render, you don't airbrush the blood here. Like, you know, like, this is where it's frustrating. Because clearly the blood's not drawn, or the blood is the black ink here, which we can kind of see a little bit of a puddle. But then the colorist comes in and says, like, you know what, like, you didn't do this right, you didn't think this through, so I'm going, like, there's going to be more blood here and more blood there. And sometimes maybe the intention is for this not even to be full bleed. Maybe this was, it's almost like the coloring blurs a little bit into a painting, you know, like, to where the line work fades, and then, like, we're a little bit more closed in. But then the publisher side is like, you know, like, we want our images and we want our detail as big as possible, and we see he has a whole horde between these cavern walls here, just like coming at him. But this is cool stuff. I mean, look at Blood coming out the mouth. Like, again, like, you get this for the gore. And we see Death Dealer in motion. Now, Liam isn't great on, like, he's not great on torque. Like, torque would be, again, like, shoulders, hips, to where the character looks like he or she is in movement. There's like an energy to the drawing. It's gesture drawing. He's not the best gesture drawing. But Liam is a straight up pen and ink illustrator, which we see here with these veins. And look again, great detail on that skull and those rivets. But I mean, look at this sword. And this is great because like Liam came from Marvel UK. We know him through Incredible Hulk. But this is the level of work that we just want to see more and more of. Right? Like, this is what makes us happy as a comic book readership. And everything is, the captions, the word balloons, everything's just too big. It's a little bit silly. But this is literally a 5-minute read. I mean, look at that. Look at that hair. And Liam kind of toggles. I mean, nice motion here, but look at like the arrows and everything sticking out of them. Look, this dude, like Arna, just impaled. Just nice detail. Like it's there's a little bit of this that's staring at an album cover as you listen to the music, and there is a reason why so much of heavy metal's best albums, they're not of a graphic design. They're of an illustrative nature, meaning they have hues, textures, they have detail that your mind locks in on as you're listening to music. You know, like this imagery, there is a reason why this imagery goes 1-to-1 with the music. And you go, it's a nice motion. Look at that horse. Like, I kind of want to say he has better motion with his animals than he does with his humans. But again, it's almost like you don't want that from him. Here we go. We can have a whole clash here. 2 giant horses. See, like, they're airbrushing for here. Like, right here. It's so over rendered. It's crazy. I will say, this does not look like it's a spread page. It just doesn't. Or it's very quick because, you know, we don't have a lot of detail for the grass or the high grass here. This looks like it could have been just a regular size page turned sideways that they blew up. You know, like, nice character design. Look at that eye. But he's really, so he's one that his illustrative style is something I like to, it's a little bit of, he works in shadows. See, like the cloak here, like it's all dark. It's dark here underneath the crotch. It's dark here, like at his lower waist. It's dark underneath the chin. It's dark underneath the horse on the left, and his cloak and his face. So a lot of times, as an illustrator, like, you just have the instincts, you have the know-how. But guys, quick side note, I'm just noticing this. Look at this shadow behind the cross here. And it's not a cross, it's just like a forehead emblem, but that shadow is sweet. But yeah, and as an illustrator, like, you develop the technique to kind of, like, you work within the dark, and it makes you meet a deadline. Like, you can fill a deadline when you're drawing like 3/4 of the figure. And here we go, he just lops off the dude's head. Nice gore in this. I give Liam so much credit. And here, see, really cool stuff. I don't know what we're doing with the sky, the over render. So see, like, the over rendering is the selection of the shadows, right? Like, what we're doing, we're not treating some of his pen artwork as if it's the precept of a painting, if it's the undertone of a painting, because the shadows here on the back make it look wrinkly. It looks wrinkled. And that's the over rendering. That's maybe the class, you know, like, that's how we describe it. If it looks wrinkled, which it does. But guys, this is one fun book. We have some bad. I mean, this is a whole write up that we can't even read because it's purple on purple. We have here we go. Here's Glenn rocking and rolling, and we have the Jaguar God. So I want to get the Jaguar God. Here's like the other ones. Here's book 1. So we're at book 2 here. There's 4 of these, I believe. Verotik. I said it right. Verotik. Yeah, I want to do more of a deep dive on this publisher. We'll get more of the Death Dealers, and I'll I'll read them, and then we can sit down and maybe do like if this tells a story, if they're one-offs, if it's all interconnected, and we'll also see if it crosses over. I don't know if it crosses over with the Jaguar God, which we know him from Fire and Ice. But this is a little bit of what comic books do. They explain everything. They go a little bit too far. Could you imagine if the Death Dealer never got licensed out other than the paintings, and we still had no context for those paintings? Like, could you imagine? I believe there might have been a couple of Death Dealer novels. So how all of that intersects and crosses over, I do not know. Anyone out there that can lend to it, please do. But sometimes on this channel, I like new things. I get new things sometimes. So, and it's great to share them with you. So subscribe, support, leave a comment. Love you guys.